Doesn't it feel amazing when you're doing something that you're good at and you enjoy? In this conversation, we're gonna learn how to understand our strengths and design our lives around them. Welcome to Happiness Adventure. I'm Lisa, and together we'll explore ways to cultivate real joy in our lives. As a coach who helps people design their callings, how does knowing our strengths help us increase our happiness?
I think that focusing on strengths is a critical part of being happy. The studies show that it takes 4 positive reactions in order to outweigh 1 negative reaction. And so what that means is that we need to begin to think about how might I be able to leverage the way I'm made, the things that I'm naturally gifted at, the way that my mind is wired, and be able to invest into that.
I think it's really common for people to feel like they need to spend more time on their weaknesses rather than their strengths, and that's how they'll grow and develop as people. So what would you say to that?
I think that oftentimes people focus on weaknesses because they think that they need to become more well-rounded, become good at everything, and that actually leads to exhaustion. One, we're not wired. We can't do everything. And then number 2, that means we're spending less time on the things that we're really great at. One of the things I feel like I'm really good at is speaking and teaching and facilitating workshops. That's one of my strengths. One of my weaknesses is paying attention to details and following up on emails. Now, I could get upset at myself for saying I'm really bad at project management, or I could say, who might I partner with so that I can actually leverage more of my strengths? One of the things that as a coach, I try to encourage people to do is think about their strengths environment. And what I mean by that is, what were you successful in and why were you successful? Was it because you were collaborating with a team or because you were working by yourself, right? Was it the kind of project that you were working on that was energizing, or was it the output? Was it the fact that you had a long checklist of things to get done, or was it the relationships that you have as a result of working on that project? And oftentimes, all those variables of your, what I call your strengths environment, are keys to what you're great at and what you're successful at. And when you are either weak because you're not being able to perform at a certain level, or you feel exhausted by it, you may want to consider asking the question, why was that? Why was it that way? Was it the kind of project? Was it because the deadline was too long or too short? Was it because I was working solo and I really want a partner? All of these are going to be interesting conversations as people begin to really consider, what are my strengths? What are my natural strengths? And what are my natural giftings? And how might I be able to lean into that, knowing that that is the key to happiness. So oftentimes when I'm coaching individuals, I ask them, what's your sweet spot? What are things that give you life? What are the things that you talk about when you go home after work and say, I can't believe I get paid to do this? And from there, asking the question, how might I be able to orchestrate my entire week so that I can maximize those moments of joy? And so I think I want to help people think through, how do you take what you're naturally good at and continue to do more of that?
What would you recommend in terms of how someone can figure out what their strengths are?
One of the assessments that I use as a Gallup Certified Strengths Coach is the Clifton Strengths. People can visit www.gallupstrengthscenter.com and take a $20 assessment to give them their top 5 talents. And another thing that I would just recommend is to identify, keep a list, keep a journal of all the areas in their life where they are most joyful, where they're most happy. Right? That could be because they're having an interaction with a coworker, or that might be because of a kind of project they're working on, or that might be because they're not excited about what they're in right now, but there are other elements that they're really keen in on. And so I would just recommend people to keep track of that and begin to understand, what are my natural talents in that way.
It sounds like a really fun project to track joy.
Yes. And I think that we need to just become more aware of that, because so much of our life we do unconsciously. And Gallup would say that when we are living in our natural strengths, it happens so naturally that we don't even know we're doing it. And so becoming more aware of what our natural talents and what our strengths are is a really important exercise to understanding how I can leverage that and do more of that to increase my happiness.
I've been speaking to Danny Kim, and to learn more about him, you can check out the links in the description box below, including his suggested reading list, which is awesome. It's such a pleasure to be on this adventure with you. Please like, comment, and share to participate. And before you go, subscribe to Feature Happy with a bite-sized video each week.